After I work with them, they no longer have a viral load for herpes or HIV. The way to eradicate viral agents, bacterial agents, fungal agents, parasites, etc.
Welcome to Inspired by Success, the podcast where I deep dive into the mindset of successful entrepreneurs, CEOs, and thought leaders. Get ready to be inspired and gain valuable insights to unlock your true potential. What if I told you there's an energy form that brings order to the entire universe? My guest today has uncovered exactly that through his study of scalar energy. Inspired by pioneers like Nikola Tesla, he dedicated over 15 years to uncovering the incredible secrets of this energy. His name is Tom Paladino, and he's revolutionizing healing with his scalar light instruments that can treat illness by transmitting this life-giving energy remotely. Let's dive into Tom's journey and discuss how scalar energy is set to transform healthcare as we know it. Welcome to the show, Tom.
Thank you so much, Linda. Pleasure to be here.
Tell us, what is scalar energy and what inspired you to create this instrument?
We're going to speak about scalar energy, which is chi or prana. Scientists might call it scalar energy, but civilizations have known this as life force energy, chi, prana, consciousness. And what I think is really so important is this is not electricity. We're working with a different energy than that of electromagnetic energy. This energy is much more versatile. So I want to present to the world the opportunity for this new paradigm, a new technology, scalar energy.
Okay. And tell us, how did you build and test the early versions of this instrument?
I studied Tesla as a youngster, and I've worked with a group of engineers. And over the years, we've perfected these models. These are scalar energy instruments. And in so doing, we're able to harness that energy, scalar energy. Now, to illustrate, this energy is not from a power plant, so to speak. The energy is from the sun and the stars. So you could say that we're really tapping into universal energy, the energy of the cosmos. And that's important because we're looking for a different way to generate power. And I contend that scalar energy will be the free energy that we need moving forward.
Amazing. Cool. Talk about free energy. I know the big companies won't be too happy about that, though. But tell us,
No, they're not.
I heard about people that created cars that don't need to run on petrol and that can run on water, but those inventions, I don't know, they don't get shown out to market. So tell us a bit about what this invention, this instrument does, and what illness did you first apply the treatment to, and how successful was it?
I was very successful when I started to use this energy. And what is unique about these instruments, we don't work with people, we work with their force field, their energy field. And the way we access their force field is through their photograph. My photograph, I'm holding up my photograph, has a force field, an energy field. And I actually place my photograph inside the instrument. My photograph now is being, if you will, bathed in cosmic energy, scalar energy. So this is an application in which we don't work one-on-one with people. It's the quantum field. Everything has energy, including a photograph. And my photograph is like my fingerprint. It's my signature. And I've had great success with people, even animals around the world, regardless of their location, working through their photograph.
Doesn't matter how remote it is, you reckon it still works, or?
It still works. It still works. Now, if you will, many people think the universe is holographic and that when you're in the scalar energy dimension, you do away with time and space. So time and space are not an impediment, and this is what I've found. So regardless of your location, you can work with a person's photograph. My predecessor, a man by the name of Hieronymus, was working with the Apollo 11 astronauts while they were on the moon. And he was working and monitoring their biorhythms through their photograph while the astronauts were on the moon. So apparently there's no distance that this energy cannot work at.
Oh, okay. And do you think part of it is also because subconsciously, it's like the power of the subconscious mind? That's one of the books that I'm reading as well. It's just if the person that's getting healed thinks that they're getting healed, then they're going to get healed. Do you think that's contributing to it as well, though?
Yes, I do. I think that's part of it. What I contend is this energy is consciousness. It's non-physical. It's intelligence. So we've heard of the consciousness, Christ consciousness of the universe. This is what I'm tapping into. The information system. Some people call that the matrix or Christ consciousness. Call it what you will. It's non-physical information. So we don't have to rely upon electrons and protons. We don't have to rely upon the physical world. We're at the spiritual realm. We're at a much higher realm of existence.
Wow. Okay. And what illnesses have you helped people?
Let me demonstrate first how I think I can help people with emotional trauma, with psychological trauma. I'm going to first demonstrate how this instrument works. It's on, it's operating. If I were to hold a light bulb in my hand, the instrument would illuminate the light bulb. So there's a great deal of power, energy coming off the instrument, so much that it can illuminate a light bulb in my hand.
So that's not connected to anything and go show us? Yeah.
That's correct. If I place this light bulb in the vicinity of the instrument, the light bulb illuminates. So that's how much energy is coming from the instrument. Again, it's free energy. Here's another experiment. I want to inculcate this, and then I'll get on to quantum healing. Here's a fluorescent tube. It's in its factory packaging. If I pass that close to the instrument, it illuminates.
Wow.
Under the influence of the instrument. So that's a miniature star. That's free energy. Now, what does that mean for people? Well, follow me. If this is my photograph, and if I can illuminate a light bulb, imagine if I place my photograph close to the instrument, the same amount of light that's going into my photograph is now going into my chakras. This is consciousness. There's no physical barrier here.
If your photo, you're smiling in your photo, you're not showing all your traumas or your pain. Can it still pick up on on the photo?
That's a good point. So a photograph is always in the present moment. So when I put my photograph or anybody's photograph in the instrument, it's always in real time in the present moment. Scalar energy is always in the present moment. So if I place these photographs of these people inside the instrument and I perform that chakra balancing, everybody would receive that white light, that download of light into their force field. Again, it's not a biological process. It's force fields. It's consciousness. So this is the new science in which you don't have to be present. We can access your force field by way of a photograph. We can balance your chakras through this instrument, balance your brain waves. And many people say after a chakra balancing, they're happier. Their mood improves. Now, how's that possible? Well, it's possible because the energy is enhanced. The energy is to the point that it can auto-correct. I do not claim to be a healer. I say that the energy is the healing agent.
Wow. You really integrated science with spiritual aspects of it.
Yes.
So are you a spiritual person yourself?
I'm a Christian. I believe there's many ways to arrive at the truth. Science is one method of looking at truth objectively. Religion, spirituality is true. And it's another way of arriving at the truth or understanding higher principles. So I try to marry both science and spirituality.
And do you use this instrument yourself as well for your own treatments?
Yes, all the time, Linda. I am 63 years of age, and I think I've enhanced my well-being significantly.
Does it heal things like pain that people are going through? Just say they've got a toothache or something, or heart problem. Like, does it do any of that? Or
some people say it does, and I'll tell you how, in principle, in practice, how this would work. Let's say somebody had a fungal infection. Now, remember, there's no human reasoning here. If I were to take a photograph, and this is how I work in principle, of a fungus. This is Candida albicans. It's common in many people. It's a universal fungal infection that people have, even animals. If I were to place these two photographs in the instrument, remember, there's always a communication between photographs. So if this photograph of Candida albicans was placed in the instrument next to my photograph, there's a sharing of information. The energy code of Candida enters into my quantum field. If I have Candida as an energy field, this instrument will not only find Candida albicans, but will negate it, bring it to a state of chaos. Now, what does that mean? If I have thousands of photographs of microbes, then I can cleanse my quantum field, my quantum body of thousands of pathogens. And this is indeed is what happens with this instrument, with this type of approach.
What if you don't know if there's something wrong with you, though?
That's a good point. So to remedy that, I have a staff, and we have amassed over 400,000 photographs of different species of pathogens. So within an hour time, we could look at, the instrument will interpret those 400,000 species of pathogens and remove them from people. Now, what does that mean? That means we have found the answer, the way to eradicate viral agents, bacterial agents, fungal agents, parasites, etc. So the upshot is if you can remove the energy of a pathogen, people feel better. And we're having great results with people around the world.
Very fascinating. Let's also talk about the role of frequencies and harmonics. How does that work in your instrument's healing capabilities?
If this is consciousness, then it's capable of all information, of all harmonics, of all expressions. So I would say that just working with this instrument, we now have to understand, once we're working with that dimension of consciousness or chi or prana, how do we use that to the best of our advantage? This is not per se cycles per second. There's no frequencies in scalar energy because it doesn't move from one point to another. The energy fills an environment. Scalar energy fills the universe. Now we simply have to delve into this science and understand how to work with this energy, how to manipulate it. We're still at first grade with this energy.
With this device, is it just one, or do you have multiple
I,
smaller versions of it for people to have their own at-home versions, or is it not possible to do it?
I have many instruments. Probably in this laboratory I have about 13 or 14, but I'm not in the position to manufacture. That's just out of my ability. I'm only one researcher. I only have time to research. So my goal is simply to introduce this to the world. Now, presently, the fact that we can work with hundreds of thousands of photographs a day, you really don't need many instruments. With one or two instruments, I could work with everybody in the world by way of their photograph. Today, earlier in my laboratory, I was working with 500,000 photographs.
Oh, wow. 500,000 people have given you photographs? So how does it work?
Yes, that's correct. So we've been working with charities around the world. I have people around the world who've signed up for our program. Over the years, we've garnered actually millions of photographs around the world. Today, I work with 500,000 photographs.
So what's your main purpose and goal for creating this?
To heal the world. This instrument could easily work with 10 million photographs a day. So without equivocation, Linda, I want to heal the world through the quantum realm, through a photograph.
That's beautiful. How do you respond to skepticism about the abilities of all this healing and remote pathogen elimination? There will be a lot of people that would be doubting. How do you respond to that?
Yeah, I welcome skepticism. It's a new science. It's going to take time for people to understand this. But keep in mind, I'm working with engineered instruments, instruments that follow the laws of science. I'm working with light. Light is immutable. Secondly, I would say go to our website. We have thousands of testimonies. We even have PCR tests from people around the world who, after I work with them, they no longer have a viral load for herpes or HIV. Now, these are the testimonies that are the beginning body of evidence in support of my work. So my work is safe. Many people attest to the fact that it works, that they feel better. And keep in mind, this is a new science that must be proven first, most likely through testimonies and then through some type of more rigorous clinical trial.
Have you had the clinical trials yet?
I've had the good success of working with a clinic in India, Om Prakash, HIV/AIDS clinic in India. And actually, I'll show a photograph. This is the clinic that I've worked with. I've worked with over 5,000 people at this Om Prakash HIV/AIDS clinic. And we've worked with them by way of photographs now. These people, everybody in that photograph sent us their image through an emailed photograph. After working with these people, nobody has a viral load. Nobody has a viral load for HIV. And again, we've worked with over 5,000 people at this clinic. Here's one of the test results from Om Prakash. This individual was HIV positive for years. And after submitting their photograph, they had a follow-up diagnostic test. There's no viral load detected for HIV. So as a new science, this needs to be further plumbed, if you will, that we need to, if you will, investigate why, after working with over 5,000 people at a clinic in India, nobody has a viral load.
What, it's actually permanently healed them, or is it just temporarily removed the viral load?
They've never had any reoccurrence of symptoms, of symptomology, nor have any of these people had any viral load since. It's undetectable, no viral load.
Wow. And you mentioned trauma earlier on too, because that's an emotional thing.
No.
It's not a physical ailment. So how does that work as well? Because sometimes people need therapy, sometimes they need a lot of inner work themselves. So how does your instrument help heal trauma?
It's the inbuilt mechanism of scalar energy. In and of itself, it can heal soul, mind, and body. So what am I saying? Scalar energy is really divine energy. I don't balance the chakras. This energy will balance the chakras. I'm so keen on that. because we take human reasoning out of the equation. There's no human action. It's all divine energy.
Wow. Okay, cool. Take it back a little bit as well. I'm just curious to know, how has Nikola Tesla's research influenced your work?
Tesla was the first man to harness control scalar energy. And I started to study his work and I looked at the outcome and I said to myself, even when I was a youngster, that he was no longer working with electricity. He was able to create artificial lightning bolts. He was able to illuminate light bulbs at a distance of miles, light bulbs that were not plugged into any outlet. So I said to myself, this is free energy. If anybody can create an artificial lightning bolt, that's what he was doing. And I was convinced that that was the path I should pursue in life, following that trajectory of free energy for the world.
Fascinating. Is it really complicated in terms of how you created the machine and what certain parts needed to tap into this energy? Is it?
It's very complicated. It's 50 years of research on my part. I had a predecessor, a man by the name of Galen Hieronymus, who developed the initial instrument. So in total, there's over a century of research to develop these instruments. It has to be perfect. All of the components must be working in sync and perfect. It's a labor of love. It's a century of research.
Incredible. So imagine you had unlimited funds. What would you do with it if you had unlimited funds?
We would have illuminated the world by now. If I can illuminate my light bulbs in my laboratory, we would have illuminated the world by now. So I have limited resources. You're absolutely right. That's what's holding me back.
And plus, the big energy companies wouldn't like the idea of free power as well, because that's what happened to Tesla, apparently. So
you're
it's
absolutely
just
right.
a scary thing, but it's just so positive, the impact that you could make on it as well.
This is the drawback that Tesla experienced.
Yeah, it's just crazy because there's so much greed in the world, but yet there's so much potential.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Tesla had indeed developed free energy instruments. If you look at his instruments, his scalar energy instruments, there's no moving parts. They simply capture the energy from the sun and the stars. Tesla wanted to give to the world free energy, but the impediment was the status quo. The international bankers did not want that. So there was an active, aggressive smear campaign against him, and Tesla never received the acclaim that he should have. And all of his funding, all of his financiers really essentially dried up, with the exception of a few.
It's sad. The world we live in is pretty corrupt in a sense, and there's a lot of greed there. But there's just so much potential to help and heal. Could scalar energy be used to enhance other human capabilities?
Yes, I believe people learn by scalar energy. So eventually the day will come that we'll take this energy and we will learn a subject and learn it in a short period of time. No longer do you have to memorize and practice, if you will, ad nauseum. That is, scalar energy should be a download of information. We will be illuminated with scalar energy. You've seen that. Some people have what is called infused knowledge. They're a natural at a subject, or they can play an instrument naturally, a musical instrument. How do you do that? You do that through infused knowledge. You do that through scalar energy.
Incredible. So there's a lot of potential there.
Yes, so much.
What other lessons have you learned from years of studying scalar energy that you can share with us?
Many times when I'm in my laboratory, if there's a lot of energy in the atmosphere, there'll be miniature lightning bolts that appear off the top of my instrument. I'm producing, if you will, miniature lightning bolts on my instrument. Meaning what? I'm interfacing with the atmosphere. We have a lot of electrical storms, lightning storms here in Florida. So I conclude that my instrument is communicating with the clouds, with the atmosphere, so to speak. Why? My instrument is alive. It's organic. This energy is alive. I believe this instrument picks up my emotions. I believe I can download my emotions, impart my emotions into the instrument. So it really is an interface of consciousness.
So in terms of all this, how do you maintain the faith and patience needed for the breakthroughs? Are you constantly improving the machine, or?
Thank you. You understand that. It's a labor of love. I'm constantly researching, constantly looking at better ways to engineer the instrument to add some type of appurtenance that would enhance its operation. I want to, if you will, be clear. I also perform podcasts trying to disseminate this information around the world. Now, the drawback, there's only one Tom. So keep me in your prayers.
What does being successful mean to you?
To be successful is to do the will of God and to help humanity. I've modeled my career off that. I want to spend my time on earth helping humanity. I want this to be meaningful to people. To the best of my ability, I use my wisdom, my knowledge, my effort with this technology to improve the human condition. And I think I've succeeded. Again, today I've worked with 500,000 photographs today. And throughout my lifetime, I've worked with probably 100 million photographs of people throughout the world, including animals. So I think I've made that impact. And I think I've made that difference in people's lives.
That's awesome to be fulfilled. They want to have an impact on people, and you've helped people. You've got a great purpose. So that's very, very inspiring.
Thank you.
If you could change one problem in the world today, what would it be?
We need world peace. I've always said the world has such potential. The problem is we fight. That's the biggest problem. We're too proud, we fight. If the world would unite, it would be a different world. The fact that we fight, there's so much contention, so much division, we're never going to get ahead.
It's so true. If more people could understand that and let go of all that hatred in their heart, the world would definitely be a happier place to live. So, what's one key takeaway you'd like to leave our audience?
Make every day your best day. Do the best you can. Be positive. I always have a rule of thumb. I always have 2 or 3 goals a day, and I accomplish those goals. I have a purposeful life. I have a fruitful life. I have a happy life. And if you think you can set goals for yourself, realistic goals, daily goals, weekly goals, try to do that. There's so many things about having a goal. It gives you purpose. You avoid detraction. You avoid nonsense. You stay focused on point, and you improve not only your life, but the lives of people around you. Again, that's the unifying approach, to have purpose in your life and to avoid the fighting, to avoid the negativity.
Beautiful. Finally, where can people find you?
My website is scalarlight.com. Now, please visit the website because everybody in the world is entitled to 15 days of free sessions. No matter who you are, no matter what your background, just send us your photograph. Scalarlight.com. You can include your pets, and with your permission, get your family members or share this at the office or the school. I want to treat everybody in the world through their photograph with scalar energy. To that end, I offer 15 days of free sessions to everybody on the planet.
Beautiful. I might give that a try. Thank you, Tom. Thank you so much for your time. It's been very interesting. I wish you all the best, and hopefully you can get this out to more people in the world.
Thank you, Linda.